Hi, everybody. Angel here with confidenceiscatchy.com. Thanks for tuning in to week 12. I can't believe it. Week 12 of my confidence challenge, where are hoping that people are doing our challenges and getting out there and expanding their confidence just a little bit every week over the last 12 weeks. If you're brand new today, thank you for swinging by. But if you've been here a while, thank you even more for staying with us for the 12 weeks. I appreciate it. Today, I have a challenge for you that is, it's going to be a little cerebral, I'll give you that. But I'm actually really excited about it. And it was bred out of just this understanding of something that I had done on Tuesday. And I'll get into the specifics about this as we talk. But basically, what I'm calling this challenge for you is break your label maker. Now, we all have labels that we use in our head. And I'm talking about the label maker in between these 2 points, right? We use labels all the time to reflect ourselves, to reflect others, to put words to things that we're trying to make sense of. And a lot of the times, the labels we use for ourselves have a lot to do with basically who we think we are, the beliefs that we have. One of them is gender, one of them is age, sometimes it's family status. If you're a single child or a middle child, so that means something to you. Sometimes it's your occupation. If you're an accountant versus an ice skater, those mean different things to different people. And sometimes it's the things that you do for fun. If you like to climb mountains or if you like to go swimming, those are the types of things that we use. Those are the socially acceptable things that we talk about when we go out and talk with people in public, and the adjectives and the way that we describe ourselves when we talk to others. And there's also some stuff that's not okay to talk about that we label all the time. Things like religion, sexuality, partisanship, and also trauma that we've been through. Some of us label ourselves as survivors of all different types of trauma. Some of us label ourselves as survivors of religion and politics. And so there's just a lot that we do talk about in the way that we label ourselves. Could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral, but it's all language. And for myself, my background is as educated to be an English teacher, and so language is always really interesting to me. And so as I started thinking about the takeaway that we did from last week's challenge, I realized I deflected in my language in that video. And I was driving to go pick up my son, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I did it not because I was trying to get away from the topic, if you will. I did it because I was very careful in not wanting to change the language from the takeaway I was talking about to a new topic, right? And so I was very careful not to use some labels. And so it got me thinking about labels in general and how we label ourselves and how we label others. And it just made me feel like, wow, we really need to do a challenge where we just sit down with that label maker up in our brain and we just write it all down. Because here's the thing about those labels. There are so many labels out there that we give ourselves and give to others, and we don't even sometimes stop to realize that we could give ourselves two labels that are 100% equally true, and they seem like polar opposites. And so what I want you to do in this challenge is sit down with a piece of paper and write down all of the labels you've used for yourself over the course of your life. Pen and paper, half hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't care how long it takes. Just go label crazy on yourself. If you had a label maker and you were going to put labels of everything you've ever said about yourself, every adjective you've used, every noun that you've used to identify you as a person, write them all down. And what we're looking, it's kind of like a word association game, okay? I'll give you a couple examples. Single child and sister. I am both of those things. I grew up as a single child in a household with two parents and no other siblings around me. So how is it that I'm also a sister? How is it that I have siblings, right? Age difference. But both of those are equally true. For me, I grew up as a single child, but I have siblings. So I can, it's just like standing on the equator. I could stand on one side, I can stand on the other side. Both are true for me in my experience. And so those are the types of labels we're talking about. I'll give you another one. This might trigger you. Fiscally responsible Democrat or socially conscious Republican. Did you just get triggered a little bit? Yeah, I know, politics. We're not supposed to talk about that, right? Yeah, I know. But hey, those are things you don't normally hear about, right? I'll give you another one. I've actually been called a nice bitch. I don't know exactly what that person meant, but I was like, yeah, I am a nice bitch. I'm a bitch when I need to be, and most of the time I'm nice. So, I'll take it, right? So I could stand on both sides of that equator and be like, yeah, I'm nice, and I can be a bitch, 100%. And I just really got into, as I was thinking about this, all of the different labels we give to ourselves. Some of them are great, some of them are positive, some of them are not so positive, and that's okay. And some of them are about situations that we've been through, and some of us, I'll give you another example. Some of us could use the word survivor, and others of us might use the word victim. And honestly, we could probably both use both of those terms at the same time and stand right in the middle, stand right on that equator. So labels are so important because the language you use about yourself tells a story, and you want to kind of figure out what story you're trying to tell with the labels that you choose. And for me, I was telling a story on Tuesday and wanted to be very specific to not tell a part of the story because it would take away from the story I was telling. So on Tuesday in my video, I was telling you about pictures of my past. I had showed you pictures of me as a child, and I showed you pictures of me in college. And I mentioned I had a short haircut and a rainbow necklace, and I said my college years were interesting. And what was funny about that is as I was driving home, I was like, oh my God, my lesbian friends are going to think I ditched them. Like, that was what was in my head. I'm like, oh no, they're going to think I'm like not okay with the fact that I was dating women in college. That's not okay for me because that is totally the opposite of me. I was such a huge advocate for the LGBT community because they were my family. I was part of them. They were part of me. And I was like the president of the organization on my college campus. I tried to get ROTC to open up the doors for gay people to be recruited. I mean, I did so much in the gay community when I was in college that on Tuesday when I was driving to pick up my son, I was like, oh my God, my friends are going to think that I am embarrassed. And I'm totally not. I just didn't want to take away from the takeaway, which was that I was showing you in my pictures that I was hiding myself. I was physically hiding myself in those pictures with clothing from all the way into my childhood. And I had said in that video, why was I doing that? Well, part of the reason I was doing that was because of abuse that happened early in my childhood, and I physically covered myself a lot. And part of that is because of the fact that at that time in my life, I was still dealing with my sexuality. I was still trying to figure out who I was. And so now I have labels that some people would call it bisexual. Some people would call it, I don't know, there's probably a million labels for it. I just call it me. And that's what we're trying to get to. The dichotomy within you. So when you write out these labels and you talk about yourself, and the words that you use matter because other people assign definitions to those labels that may not match your definition of the label. And so what we're trying to get at in this challenge is find the places where all of your labels might look like opposites, but to you, they make perfect sense to be on equal footing. And so for me, I could write down the word lesbian, and I was there, and that was part of who I am. And I could also write down long-term committed married relationship with a guy. They're equally the same to me. And the dichotomy of that, the dichotomy that I'm both a teacher and a student. I'm both a lesbian and a straight person. I'm everything that has a duality. I'm yin and yang. I'm a single child and I'm a sister. I'm a fiscally responsible Democrat. These are the labels that we use to declare ourselves in the world, and how we do that and when we do that and why we do that is so critically important to our confidence level that I really want you to get this on paper and write down those things. And what you're looking for in these labels is the things that seem like opposites, but that to you equal footing, 100%. They're both true, because that is where your power stands. That is where you have the ability to rise, to change, to grow, to inspire, to teach, because you can be both broken and healed. You can be weak and strong. You can be yin and yang, all within the same person. And that's what makes us amazing. So today, your challenge is go label yourself like nuts all weekend and find those things that are true for you on both sides of your equator. And I hope you'll find some inspiration from that in what makes you unique and what makes you different in your duality. And I will see you on Tuesday and we'll talk about it. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Have a great day. Bye.